I kind of want to do some like tip videos, maybe. I don't know. I've done them in the past. I'm not like a round 100 type person. I'm not that good. I wish I was. And I think that sort of puts people off because they're like their brain just goes no, you need to fucking you gotta be able to get around 100 or your advice is just fucking nothing. But I think the biggest thing is that, I mean, there's little things like I got stuck in a corner earlier. Like I got stuck in a corner like and I instantly just jumped off. Right, got out of problems. I see people all the time get stuck in positions where all you got to do is like, oh shit, and then you're in the water. Whatever, doesn't matter. Like, don't just stand there and fucking get beaten to death. Now, if you can't do that, if you're like, the zombie has gone away from you, it's easy to freeze up, to panic, whatever. But you just got to reset. Sometimes you got to let somebody die and stuff like that. And it was interesting. I played a standard match. Oh, by the way, I'm doing. All the weapons are upgraded, and I'm currently going through. I've got a spreadsheet sitting next to me with all the things I got to do because the. Okay, just going back. So I did standard because. Okay, I'm all over the place. I did standard because I've got to do 30 rounds for Opal. Because on directed, because only one special zombie shows up per round. Whereas if you do standard, when you get into the later rounds, 4 or 5 shop, and Opal requires you. So to go from gold to Opal, you have to first get all of the weapons in that category. So if it's I've got assault rifles, they're all gold, so I can now Opal all of the assault rifles. If I want to, with shotguns, for instance, I still have to get one more. So there he is. There's the one dude. So I'm going to switch to my pistol because my pistol is at gold. This fucking Treyarch, man, come on. You know what's really sickening about this, or what's sad about this? People are sitting there going, but wasn't Microsoft supposed to help? Well, Microsoft's actually running the servers. I keep blaming Treyarch. This is Microsoft. Microsoft are fucking collapsing, right? It's going to be really fucking insane when Microsoft declare bankruptcy in the next 12, 24, 36 months. And everyone's looking at me going, it's not going to happen, it's not going to happen, it's not going to happen. And I go, what do you mean it's not going to happen? Microsoft gave away the last 2 operating systems, right? They fucking every time they buy up a company, they lay off half the employees, and everyone goes, oh well, they got to make cuts, and I go, but that's the opposite of progress. All they're doing is adding titles. Here's the joke, right? It's so fucking disturbing. It's not funny, right? Running a streaming service is really expensive. We know this because what happened with HBO? HBO Max, they downsized it because it was costing them too much money. What did they do with Disney? They downsized it because that was costing them too much. Disney Plus, they keep complaining about how it's costing them millions of dollars. They keep trying to make original content. But here's the joke, right? Okay, I got to stop for a second because I got to try and I want you to visualize this. Right now, they don't have enough money coming in to support the current user base, right? So let's say that 500 million people around the world are using Disney Plus on a daily basis. Let's just throw that as a number. I'm making that number up. It could be 100 million. It could be 20 million. It could be 1 billion. I don't fucking care what the real number is. We're just creating a hypothetical, okay? Because they throw out all kinds of numbers, right? And there's people from the back end who are throwing out more honest numbers, but even they say we only know the numbers for where we are, what region we're in, okay? So let's just say there's 500 million people connecting up. So each time someone connects in, they pay $14.95 or $15 or $20 or whatever they fucking pay. Doesn't actually matter, okay? It's not a lot that they pay. And they get an entire month to connect to their servers and stream. Now, when you connect in to stream, that is taking server space. That's costing them money. Now, I know that there's fucktarded morons all over the world, and hopefully you're not one of them, who think that they have to pay that money no matter what. And they're not wrong, but they're not correct. Okay? I know this is hard to believe, but the servers use more power if more people are connected. So Disney and all these companies, all they really want is people to connect. Sorry, is to pay, but never actually connect up. And the problem is the people are. But even if they don't connect up, it still costs millions and billions every fucking year to run these servers, because they've got to pay they've got to pay the fees for the location. They got to pay land tax and shit. They got to pay for all the electricity. They've got to pay for maintenance. Like half of these centers, this is the joke. You've already seen like advertising, like Microsoft has the most servers in the world. Blah 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 blah. Crap. Bullshit. And it's all well lit. And there's a couple of like tech-looking dudes plugging their computers in, and they make sure that it runs smooth every day, right? And they're just tapping the keyboard, pretending to type in, right? As soon as they finish that ad spot, all the lights go off. This is not a joke. You can find forums, you can find Reddit posts, you can find videos online on YouTube. You can find information everywhere. Those centers, none of those lights are on. Most of them, to keep the power costs down, they turn off the lights. Some of them actually disconnect the fuses so that they can't even turn on the fucking lights. The only lights that are legally required are for the bathroom and strip lighting. And even then, strip lighting is turned off half the time. And these people say, this is illegal. But if I want to keep my job, I should keep my mouth shut, right? Now, they say that I work at an unnamed server location, but everyone's like, that's Microsoft, right? That's the same Microsoft location they show in the commercial, right? So what they do is they're supposed to have strip lighting, and I think they do actually keep the strip lighting on during daylight hours, maybe. I'm not sure, because these places are dark as fuck. There's no windows or anything. They don't want windows, because these places have to be kept climate control, like massively climate control, which means giant fucking air conditioners. Now, a lot of people don't realize this. Okay, it's in the fucking name, right? Air conditioners are designed to control the humidity, which then controls the temperature of the air. Look it up. That's why they're called air conditioners, not air coolers, right? Or air heaters, right? They condition the air to allow it to cool down, right? Look it up. It'll blow your fucking mind when you learn how air conditioners actually fucking work, right? Now, in these locations, they need like massive fucking air conditioning systems, massive fucking fan systems. Think of the fan in your computer. They've got one of those. Sue-Wei, what? What? Yeah, okay. You want some dog food? You vomit when you eat the dog food. I love you, but you vomit when you eat the dog food. Yeah. The dog, Susie, the dog, came to stay. Mum and Dad's dog. And normally I give Sue a little bit of the dog food, but she's been vomiting every time she eats it now. But she's still complaining at me, like, oh, I want the dog food. No, it makes you vomit. Or have you got something else going on? I don't know what you want. I follow you and you lead me around the house and then you don't let me pat you. You just fuck off. I don't know what you want. Anyway, I love you. Yes, I love you. All right, time to go out. Come on. Anyway, so what happens is people come along and they go, if you've seen the movie fucking, for all the bullshit that's in the movie, there's actually some real shit in it. In the movie Die Hard 4, I don't give a fuck if you like or hate that movie. Does not fucking matter. But the big fans and shit that he throws the guy into, like the parkour dude, and he goes accidentally into it and chops himself into kibble. That is kind of what it really is like, right? That could possibly was shot at a Microsoft location or something. I went into the credits, right? Those kinds of systems are real, okay? And they are fucking expensive to run. Okay, because they got to pay all sorts of people, security and all sorts. Because don't forget, those things are full of data that belongs to everybody, right? They can't fuck around with that shit. They do fuck around with that shit, but they fucking shouldn't be, okay? Now, the point is that those servers costing them millions of fucking day. Some of them cost millions of dollars a day to run. Some of them cost millions of dollars a day to run. Okay, not million, millions with an S. Okay, and these places are just sucking down money, right, on servers. Now people say, "What's the millions of dollars?" And I go, "The millions of dollars are transfer fees." Fees for because they have to pay communication fees. People are like, "Oh, they own it, so they don't have to pay." And it's like, well, yeah, they do. They have to transmit the information to satellites or through the fucking seaboard. The what's it called? Fucking I forgot what it is, but it goes transcontinental thing. I don't know what it's fucking called now, but it's like it's a wire that runs between continents. That's why it's called transcontinental. Basically, the point I'm trying to make here is... Oh, pause again. Okay, yeah, what do you want? You've been fed. You're greedy, I think. The problem is you throw your own food up sometimes too if you eat too much, I think. So you gotta calm down. Anyway, so the long and short of it is that they cost all this money. Microsoft owns... People love to say this. Microsoft owns 90% of the servers. And I'm like, cool, that means that they're not worth anything. Now, people look at me and they go, well, why would they buy them up if they're not worth anything? And I go, well, they used to be worth something, and now they're basically stuck with it. Because if they shit-can that system after promising the government that they would keep the networks up as a guarantee. So, as much as they pay millions a day, they could be paying more. But in order to maintain what they want, right, what they need, they have to take a lot more because they made Microsoft made a shitload of deals with the government, okay? And we know this, and this isn't like conflict of interest stuff or anything like that. The government gets support 24 hours a day, except for they're not anymore, and the government's not happy about that. And when I say the government, I mean governments. Right? But especially the American government. And this is shit that has nothing to do with Trump or Harris or anyone like that. This is like just day-to-day communications. Like even the communication minister doesn't fucking know what any of this shit is. This is the bread and butter that gets handled, okay? Like Kamala, Trump, Biden, fucking any of these fucking politicians, none of them probably even know that every day they probably don't even know about the transcontinental fucking communications system, right? Trump would probably look at it and go, "Oh fuck, we're gonna get rid of that because it's not just in America," or something stupid, right? But that's the thing. It's like they don't know about it. They don't know about the day to day, the what's being negotiated and run and whatever, because that's just the bread and butter. As I said, it's not even, the communication minister doesn't even know about this shit theoretically, unless he just gives a shit about it, which I don't think he does. But the point is, right, is that these things exist and just run, and that's what the internet is. But people don't take a second to understand anything about the infrastructure. Like, have you ever thought about how your shit from your toilet gets to where it needs to get to and what happens to it after that? No, you don't give a shit about infrastructure. You don't give a fuck about where the water goes. Like, there are people out there. This is how fucking stupid it is, but I don't blame people for not knowing. Okay? When you take a shower and you take a shit, they go through different systems. They end up at the same location, but they actually exit through different systems initially. Okay? Here's the deal, right? Your water from your gutters does not go into that same system. Your water from your gutters usually goes into stormwater. So people will see these huge pipes, right, that people are walking through and stuff like that. And they'll be like, oh, man, you know, and they say that they're going into a stormwater drain. And they go, oh, man, it's going to smell like shit down there because that's where the poo goes. And I'm like, he literally said stormwater drains. Stormwater drains take the water off of the road through those fucking little square, like rectangular hole things that you see in the corner of the road. where the water goes when it rains. You know, where fucking it was. Where it was in fucking the movie It, when he grabs Georgie and rips his fucking arm off, that doesn't have poo in it. Right? That's just water from the road that gets dumped out into an estuary or like here where I live, there is a ford that goes along. Now, ford is in like fjord, like FJORD, right? Where water just has been going from the hills, right? Goes from the hills. But just about 100 meters from my house, not even that far probably, well, probably just over actually, there is a stormwater drain that me and my friends used to hang out in. And people used to say, oh, you hang out in the shit. And we're like, what the fuck are you talking about? It's water from the road. Yeah, it's probably got oil and shit in it and a bit of rubbish. And hell, someone probably did take a pee on the side of the road at some stage. But the water itself is from the fucking road. It's what stops the road from flooding when the fucking storms come in. Right? And then it flows out and flows through my neighborhood. Then goes out underneath the train station, just, you know, near my house, like, you know, about 50 meters away. And then flows out through this, like, you know, people go past it every day, right? And it goes to the Port Adelaide outlet, outflow, I think it is, right? And that's how it is. It's just water that goes straight out to the ocean. And yeah, it has like catchment filters and all that sort of stuff to try and get some of the oil and crap out of the water. But generally speaking, all that oil on the road just goes out to the ocean. And yeah, we try our best, but that's the system for us. And then people sit there going like, oh, people are dumping oil down the sink and blah, 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 and crap and bullshit. And I'm like, yeah, we shouldn't do those things. But did you know that when you wash your car on the side of the road after doing an oil change and you wash the oil down the drain, that goes out to the ocean? You didn't give a fuck then. And it's not that I'm saying you shouldn't give a fuck some of the time. You should. You're absolutely right. But don't fucking pretend that you do everything right when you don't even understand the difference between a stormwater drain and a fucking shit water drain. Or what we call sewerage. Or sewage. It's actually sewage. It's S-E-W-A-G-E. But people here know that they're called sewers, so they go sewerage. It's like, it's not actually sewerage, it's sewage. So you have sewage and sewage treatment, and you have the sewer. Which the sewer is where, like, it goes through. But yeah, people look at you, they go, you don't give a fuck about any of that stuff, but you want to fucking tell me about communications. Okay, tell me how the communications gets to the satellite and how it works when it interacts with the satellite. Do you know about the fact that satellites hold all of the data in a certain cache system that's cleared every 36 days, I think it is? Could be shorter now, I don't know. Could be longer, could be shorter. Did you know that every 3 or 4 years they fly up like a replacement satellite to replace like the satellite? Like, every 4 years they've worked out to fly up at least one satellite, because at least one satellite in 50, I think it is, will either collide with the atmosphere and blow up, or collide with something in space, or collide with another satellite and explode. Did you know that every week, yes, every week, 52 cases every year, a communication company has to go to their insurance company and discuss their bill rates for the satellites that crash into other satellites? Because at least 52 times a year, a satellite collides with another satellite, either damaging it or blowing it into bits, and they just become like more debris in space, ready to affect more satellites. And so, just for the record, these collisions are not always like the satellite gets completely destroyed. It's just probably why your internet went off that day. Oh, my internet had a hiccup. So yeah, it was probably because I had to flip servers, like, you know, at the speed of, like, at the fastest it could, to try and, you know, stay online, because two satellites just flipped each other. Again. Like, seriously, there are satellites up there that look like cars in those countries that I can't say the name of because I'll be called a racist, where every single car is just covered in dents and other cars' paint, because everyone in that country, unfortunately, has not been taught how to drive properly. And you can call me a fucking racist, but I've seen the pictures, and I have people who have lived in those countries, and when they talk about it, they say, yeah, when you're in those countries, you just don't care about it anymore, because everyone crashes into everyone, or sideswipes everyone. because traffic lights are a suggestion for everyone, including the police. And that's basically what satellites look like. You watch movies and they hit each other and explode in a boom of explosiveness. And in real life, they just sideswipe each other every now and then and do damage. And then it's like, yep, okay, solar panels are now at only 25%. You know, hell, half the satellites up there don't even have the ability. Like, they don't even. They're actually, there are question marks. Like, what's going to happen to these satellites because they've lost so much of their connectivity. Sorry, their control. Sorry, so they're still connected, and still transmitting back and forth, which is what they want them to do. But they don't have the ability to know if they're even going to stay up in space and like, you know, day to day. There are satellites that are communicated with that literally all they do is transmit back and forth, and they're just like, one day it'll just either fall into space or fall out of it'll fall out of orbit, either towards the atmosphere and burn up, or away from Earth and just disappear. But until then, they're like, can't you send it out or correct its trajectory? And they're like, nope. It's literally just in a free-form orbit. Is it free-form orbit? Basically, like the moon, how the moon just stays in its own orbit. We don't affect it. Like, Earth affects the moon. Basically, the Earth has made it into its own satellite for now. But tomorrow it could just, you know, and then they just flip to another server. You're already sitting there right now going, oh, I've heard them talk about how they want to clear up the debris and do this and that, something else, and blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, it's a great fucking plan. Everyone discusses doing it. Every country on Earth has discussed going up and cleaning up space, right? Do you know why they don't clean up space? Because it's $1 trillion plan. Not million, not billion, trillion. And that's just initial budget cost, right? To clean up 1 square meter of space, right? No, here's the best part. Sorry, I forgot about the best part. And that's not even guaranteed that they'd be able to do it. Okay? So, in 1977, I think it was, or 78, there was an attempt to clean up a small section of space as a test, right? So basically, and this wasn't even NASA, I don't think. It could have been, but I can't remember exactly how it all worked. It would have been NASA then. Maybe it was in the 80s, actually. Anyway, point is there was a private company that basically said, we're going to send up basically a magnetic probe that will fly into space and it will collect up. And it was basically, like, you have to think of it like, okay, there are things you can get. Are they called? I think they're called suicide bowls. If someone's a plumber or works with sewage, they might be able to correct me on this. There's a thing you can get that you basically, like, you push it into like a block drain. I know about the thing that goes through and mashes up and all that sort of stuff. But if you have like a drain that's so blocked that you can't do much about it, what they do is they push it down and then they use like a thing. They push it and then they basically like push water in and plunge it and push and plunge. And it's like a plunger that pushes in air and water, not sucks it out. And it pushes this ball through, and the ball will, when it gets to the other side, after a period of time, it breaks apart. I think it's like compressed, and once it reaches the end of the pipe, it sort of splits apart, and then it'll rust away or something. I can't remember how it all works. And I might be fucking up. Maybe they collect at the other end. I'm not totally sure. I remember watching something about it years ago, and they might not use them anymore. Or maybe I've just misunderstood what it was doing. I was half asleep at the time. But basically, not a good example now I think about it, but there are things, like there are blocks you can get to put in your toilet and stuff like that go through and clear out the drain, I guess. And you don't get them back. They deteriorate, right? That's basically what this was. It would go up there and use a magnet to collect up all this space debris, and then it would basically intentionally get pushed to burn up in the atmosphere. And they sent it up. It went up, and it did fuck all and nothing. Because half of the components, half of the metal components, were not magnetic. Right? So aluminium, I don't know if you... A little test for you. Go and get a can of soda, a can of drink, whatever the fuck, and put a magnet up to it, and you'll be amazed that it doesn't have any magnetism. Oh, fun fact, bullets can be made out of lead, and they can be made out of tin. Tin is non-magnetic. I'm guessing lead is? Either way, if you were to do... Right now, today, if Magneto was like, I'm gonna fucking kill you, you could shoot his brains out in 2 seconds. Nothing you could do about it. Just use any bullet that's made of a non-magnetic bullet, a non-magnetic metal, and he's fucked. Yeah, Magneto is the easiest mutant to kill. Look it up. There's actually a video that they did basically showing that, yeah, Magneto would have to live in like a steel bowl of high-density material, and even then, someone would probably figure out a way to blow a bullet through it, like a high-caliber 50 cal round. Because, yeah,
I don't know if you can feel
over half the bullets that the police officers fire today would shoot Magneto dead. Yeah. Magneto is not that tough. He only can stop magnetic material, and a lot of it isn't. And this is the thing. People see the word metal and they go, oh, metal, magnetic. And it's like, no, most metals are not. Aluminium foil isn't magnetic. Tin isn't magnetic. Fucking... Yeah, go take a magnet. Go and get a fucking fridge magnet and see how many things you can't stick it to that are magnetic, that are metal. And you'll suddenly sit there going, oh. And yeah, guess what? Satellites are made up of shit tons of non-magnetic metals. And do you know why they're made up of non-magnetic metals? Because if they were, they might interfere with communications. Yeah. The reason they use a lot of aluminium isn't just because it's lightweight. It's also because it's more stable when it comes to like magnetic, like basically being like non-static. Because you don't want static electricity in your fucking satellite burning out all your shit. So yeah, so they sent this ball thing up there, and it collected a little bit of material. Now a whole bunch of people are like, yay, it collected a little bit of material. It cost $2.8 billion to get the fucking thing up there. Oh, that's expensive. And I go, yeah? That's cost adjusted, by the way. Oh. And it removed how much? Well, ultimately, it was like when they did a density test. Was it density or was it when they did the test afterwards? It was like 85% of what burnt up was the ball, and the ball was like, I think it was like about the size of your fist, and it had been dragged through an area of like, I don't know, however far it was, so that. So yeah, this idea of like, we just send a magnet up, a magnet ball to pick up all the metal. It's like, yeah, but most of that metal is not actually magnetic. So, yay! And dragging a metal rod through space, which is basically what like the secondary plan was, that was given up instantly because this little metal ball thing that they sent up hit in the 80s or 70s, whenever it was a while back. I think they conceived it in the 70s and it was launched in the 80s, now I think about it. Something like that. But yeah, and that was when there was a shitload less satellites than there are now. It already hit 3 satellites doing its job, even though it was supposed to not hit a single one, because they were able to measure all the trajectories. And no, these weren't spy satellites, these were satellites, like, you know. But yeah. There's a lot of fucking bullshit they do to keep our communications running. It is fucking crazy. Part of the reason that we have to pay so much for our ISPs and shit. And yes, there are ISPs that rip off lots of people and don't provide any service. But, yeah, even the ones that are doing the right thing. By the way, I need to get about, hopefully only about 10 or more kills. So I need to get critical kills. I'm trying to get critical with this shotgun. But yeah, it's like, people just don't understand this stuff. And even I don't understand most of it. You know, I only know if I'm scratching the surface and not even that. But But this is the thing, you don't hear about it. So when people sit there going, oh yeah, Microsoft has all this money, I just look at them and go, what money? You know, they get $14.95 to run $1 million a day servers, $14.95 per person. So you might look at that and say, well, if they've got 500 million people, like, okay, let's flip it out to 1 billion. Oh, they've got $14 billion. And they go, yep. But all of the movies that are on Disney Plus, it's like, here's the deal, right? Here's why Netflix worked, right? Netflix was just another service providing movies. So if we go back 10 years ago, right? When Netflix was pretty much the only game in town. Like, there was others, but, you know, Netflix was the big one. Netflix would rent they would take a movie and put it on for streaming, right? Now, what would happen is Disney. So let's just say let's just use Iron Man as an example, right? So, well, what came out in 2014? Can't think of anything. Let's just pretend that. Well, let's say it was Iron Man 2 or 3. I think Iron Man 2 was 2009. But let's say it was like, I think the Avengers came out in 2014. Right? Let's just say it did. I can't remember when it came out. But let's say the Avengers came out. So the Avengers would come out at the cinema. So you get box office. This is for Disney. So Disney would get box office. Then they would get DVD sales and Blu-ray sales. They would also get some sales, like, you know, I don't know if YouTube Movies was around back then. Well, let's just say it was. So they get some sales from that. I know that Sony Movies was around, so your PlayStation, because PlayStation 3 had that. So you could get it on PlayStation 3 or 4 with Sony Movies or whatever, right? But then you could also get it on Netflix as part of your package. Now, Netflix negotiated, and they had a very set negotiation rate. It didn't matter what movie it was, this was the going rate, right? Then, God damn this fucking glitching. Then, Disney was like, well, we want that money, right? We see how much money you're making. We want that money. Yeah, finally. Okay, I gotta look at my spreadsheet now. Marine SP, 2,000 criticals, 300 rare or higher, 300 hit fire. Okay, is it rare or higher? Yep, it's legendary. Just gotta hit fire it now. Okay, now I'm gonna activate nothing. Oh. So this pistol, I need to get 30 special kills. So this guy, there we go, there's another one. And that's to unlock Opal. Once I've got 33 weapons with Opal camo, then I can move on to unlocking Afterlife camo, which I haven't looked up what the prerequisite is yet. But yeah, I've got this spreadsheet right there. It's all color-coded and everything. But yeah, so anyway, the point is that when people talk about this stuff, they don't understand any of the infrastructure or pricing or why they did this or that. So basically Disney was like, we're going to get that money now. So we're going to get money for DVDs and Blu-rays and everything else, which, by the way, they weren't getting as much with DVDs and Blu-rays because people were watching it on Netflix. So basically, Disney figured they could just make all the money. They would make all the money off of all those other sales, and then they would be able to add to it that they would get the money from the from streaming by having Disney Plus, having their own streaming service. But what they didn't take into consideration is that they would have to run servers. So Disney went around the world and stuck a whole bunch of servers all over the world that cost hundreds of... Well, the initial cost has been calculated out to about 2.8 billion per country. I don't think it's that high for some of the countries because they're smaller countries, but then in Europe, some of these are like servers that cover several countries, so I think they're meant to say region, not country. But yeah, it's hard to know, and these are like estimated costs. In the United States of America, at the very least, it did cost for at least one of the servers. And again, this was just one server for the United States of America. That was $2.8 billion. So I think they're taking that number and sort of just running it as regional costs. I don't agree with that fully. What we do know is that at least $50 billion was spent. Now, that $50 billion was not just for the buildings and shit, though. Because in some of these countries, like especially in Europe with the European unions, they had to employ people from local companies and businesses, and they had to pay them union rates. So in America, where they could just rip people off and fuck them and not pay them properly and stuff like that, in Europe you can't do that, and safety standards have to be maintained, 24-hour security. In America, many of these centers, like if you want to eat something, you've got to just go to the vending machine. You know, like it's a vending machine. It's a vending machine. We all eat lunch from a vending machine. In many European countries, you actually have to have an on-site like cooking crew, basically. So some countries, the prices go out of whack, and that's why it's so hard to calculate it. Because there's how much it costs to buy servers. And as much as they try to skimp, they have to have a minimum connection rate. Because if they're going to sell the idea... Because Netflix upgraded to 4K. And Disney wasn't going to go 4K. And then they realized if they didn't go 4K, people are going to demand it. So they had to get proper servers, because they were just going to do it cheap. So we do know that they at least wasted a whole bunch of money, because they literally did buy shit rate servers initially. You know, classic fucking Disney. Also, HBO Max bought proper servers as well, which kind of also forced the issue. They were still humming and hawing, like, who cares if Netflix is going to be dead in a year because we're taking all the movies off them. And then Netflix started making its own content. That's why Netflix had to make its own content. Because it needed a reason for people to... It needed people to have something original to watch, because it was going to lose all of its catalog of movies. The thing is, just put it in, Disney have had to pay all of this money, and they're running the servers. What they used to do is they used to pay a licensing fee to Netflix. And Netflix, here's the biggest thing, Netflix would only have 3-month, 6-month, hell, even just 1-month contracts on movies. Disney, by having these movies, they had this guarantee bullshit, because it's all about making promises and then realizing how much you fuck it up. So Disney has said, we're going to keep all of the Disney classics on, we're going to keep all of the Disney movies, all of the Avengers movies are going to be on Disney forever. But that's the thing with Netflix. Netflix would have to renew its contract every 6 months, 3 months, 12 months, whatever, which was money coming in. And in the interim, in the months where those movies weren't on, people might have to go somewhere else, might have to go buy the Blu-ray or the DVD. But by putting it on Disney Plus permanently, why do I need it to get it on Blu-ray or DVD? It'll always be on Disney Plus. And then people do what, you know, what I was going to do and didn't end up doing, because now I just go to 1337x.to and just fuck them. I've spent enough fucking money with these shitty companies. Because this is the thing. Why do you think they had to suddenly have different plans? Oh, you pay this much for for several rooms of your house. But, so what they do is they have people who are like, oh, I only have one TV in my house. Oh, but if I want 4K, I have to pay the multi-TV deal for 2 in the house. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's all just bollocks bullshit. Most people don't even just want a single deal. But they won't do it because they have to justify it somehow. You know what I mean? It's a whole thing. It's so fucked. And it goes round and round and round. And this is the thing. When you start digging into this stuff, I'm not even scratching the fucking surface on half of this shit. It is so involved what goes on with connecting your fucking internet. What goes on with connecting your fucking streaming. And all these people are like, but they make all the money. And I'm like, no, they're not. Because if people don't buy the movies and TV shows and all the rest of it, then... if they don't buy the DVDs and Blu-rays and all the rest, then where is your money coming from? Where's your bottom line? And this is what's happened with Xbox Game Pass. Xbox Game Pass, they've lost when they did the calculation on how much they lost. Just the best example was early on. Microsoft knew they fucked up early on with Xbox Game Pass when they gave away Forza for free. So the first year, I think it was 2019, 2018, whatever it was, when they started putting, because I think they did like a trial run. When they put on, and they had that whole thing, oh, we're going to put most of our new games, our exclusive Xbox games, onto exclusive Microsoft games, onto Xbox Game Pass. Day one, and they did this with Forza. I think it was Forza Horizons, was it? I think it was Forza Horizons something. It was the one that was like free, basically. So when they did the cost analysis, they shit bricks. The year prior, or maybe not the year prior, whenever it was that they released the Forza Horizons, the one that was before that, the one that was there. So it was I think it was the second Horizons game. Right, so not the second Forza game, the Horizons franchise, which Horizons is like really arcadey, I think. I don't know the full story behind Horizons. I don't play Forza. Basically, when they released it on Xbox Game Pass, when they did the cost analysis, they were like, why are we down hundreds of millions of dollars? And they said, because we didn't sell any box copies. They go, what do you mean we didn't sell any box copies? And they go, we didn't sell any box copies. And they're like, and when I say box copies, or digital, we didn't sell any. They use the word box copy, even though it's not actually box. That includes digital. Okay, so buy to own is what I'm saying, right? I know some people are confused by that. When you stream, you're not owning it. You're buying the service and then streaming the game, right? Or downloading the game as part of your streaming package or whatever, like the Xbox Game Passes and all that. They lost 93% of all physical and digital sales. So they dropped by 93%. And they sat there going, how much does that equal? And they go, well, if each game costs $60, and out of that payment, so $60, about 25% of that ends up back with the developers to pay them to develop the fucking thing, right? It's sometimes as low as 20% or 19%. It can be as high as 35%, but it's generally about 25% average. They said, we've still got to pay those people, right? We've still got to pay those teams to make the game. Are you starting to see why Microsoft fired 10,000 of the fuckers? Yeah, because they didn't want to pay them anymore. They didn't want to pay them out their royalties and shit. They started fucking them over. But basically, all of the physical sales were gone. It went down. You can look this up. This was all reported on at the time. It was down 60% on the first day. Right? Now, people look at that and then don't read the next day. The next day, it was down 75%. It continued till it hit 93%. Okay, so you understand this. On the first day, let's say that when they sold Forza Horizons in 2011, let's just fucking say that's when it came out. I have no fucking clue when it came out. Let's say they sold 70 million copies, right? And then they were projected to sell another 70 million copies with the next one, okay? Or even more. When it released, they sold... So, okay, let's say 100 million, actually, so that makes it easier for me. So let's say they sold 100 million, sorry. They only sold 7 million this time because the other 93% of that 100 million were playing it on Xbox Game Pass, which means that if you factor that out, especially with when that game came out, that was when most people were getting Xbox Game Pass for the first time, which meant they got the 14 days. It was a 14 days or 3 weeks or 3 months or whatever it was, a month, was only a fucking buck. Yeah. Start doing the cost out of a buck for the game. And that's the thing. You don't just get Forza, you get all those other games. So instead of paying $60, you pay $14.95 here in Australia at least. Or were paying $14.95, I don't know what it is now. And you get all those games. Each of those games, like let's say right now you go and get Xbox Game Pass and play all of the Fallout games. Each of those games is on other systems. Like if you go to Steam, most of them are still $15, $20. Some of them are still up at $100. I think Fallout 4 is still at its original fucking price for no fucking reason. Yeah. They're not getting any sales on those because people are getting Xbox Game Pass paying $14 and getting the game for practically nothing. Microsoft has to still run the servers, has to still give it to you, where they would normally get a sale. And this is the thing, it's worse than piracy. Because with piracy, they just lose money, right? They're not paying you, they're not paying for the servers to download. When you go to a server, like the Pirate Bay or whatever, okay, that gets paid for by either your ISP if you're doing torrents, right? So you're just all paying for each other's downloads. When you're downloading from Microsoft, you've got to download it off their server, and they're fucking paying for the server. Starting to see why this is a problem? If you're not, then just fucking get out a calculator and work it out. If they're making less than, like in some cases, with some people, they're making less than 5 cents, like, per game, basically. Because people are playing, like, every game that's on Xbox Game Pass. They're making $2.50 per person. And that's just on losses from game. Like, if you're downloading $60 games, or whatever, like $100 games they are here in Australia. Yeah. Like, it's complicated, but you just got, if you think it through, it's like, wait, who? Like, basically, who pays in the end? Microsoft wants to pretend they're not the ones that are paying. They are. They've fucked themselves, and they know it. But they can't figure out how to back down. That's why they were talking about, like, increasing the cost. But here's the thing. They would have to charge each person $130 to break even at the current amount of people who are on Xbox Game Pass. Right? Who are using Xbox Game Pass. Sorry, no, who are subscribed. That would have to include still all the people who have Xbox Game Pass, and don't even ever use it. Okay? So Xbox wants people who pay for something and don't use it, right? But here's the rub. Only about 13% of people who have Xbox Game Pass aren't using it at all, or haven't used it enough in 12 months to basically break even for Microsoft, right? So here's the deal. It gets bad, right? Sorry, only 13% are not using it all, sorry, and then there's 16% on top of that who are at least breaking even. So Microsoft's making money off of the former and breaking even on the latter. So that puts us up to 29%, right? Yeah, sorry, 23, but 39%. The 39% breaking even. What about the other 61%? The other 61% are downloading only 3 games for Microsoft to be at a net loss, where the only way to make it up is for them to basically pay for the service for a year and not use it at all. So if you download 15 games, Microsoft gets a return on their investment in a decade. They're lucky. Yeah. And people look at me and they go, bullshit. And they go, why the fuck do you think Microsoft is trying to downsize the system without downsizing? Why do you think they keep firing employees? It's because they believe that they can somehow, if they can buy up, like they're like sitting there going, man, we got Call of Duty, that's fantastic. Yay, Call of Duty. Call of Duty last year, when it wasn't on Xbox Game Pass, it wasn't exclusive, or no, last year before, whenever it was, before they were bought out. they had, I can't remember what the sales numbers were exactly, but yeah, it's down 76%. So the amount of people buying the game on Xbox is down that much. So even though PlayStation and all the other, and PlayStation and, well, even with PC, there's now Xbox, well, there has been for a while, Xbox Game Pass for PC. That's a real thing. That's what it's called. And yes, it is separate. You have to pay a separate amount. I don't know if you still pay a separate amount. I'm assuming you do, but yeah, back when I had it. Oh, which one was that? Okay. I'm going to assume that was rare or higher. I think I've accidentally. I think sometimes oh, god damn it! Thought it was a. There's actually a meme online where it's like the where it's like the top of the kaboom with a nuke, and it's like, oh my god, look, it's a insta kill, and then as soon as you grab it, it's like kaboom, and you're like, oh no, it was a fucking nuke. Yeah, I think a couple of times I've accidentally hit the aim down sights. So it shouldn't be too much longer. I'm getting a little bit worried. I did copy and paste by accident the wrong... Because over time, if you go and look up all of the requirements... There it is! Hit 5 kills. Yeah, I've had a feeling. Okay, now... Anyway, now I got to get, I think it's 15, I got to kill 10 zombies rapidly 15 times. I think that's what it is. So, I'm going to kill this fucker, and then I'm going to pause and go take a piss. I will be back. It's like this AI thing. I think that Treyarch and Activision are taking the blame for Microsoft. Because guess what happens? The same day that Treyarch and Activision are like, we're going to negotiate with the voice actors that have been replaced with AI, and we don't want to replace them with AI. Microsoft say, it's fantastic that we got this new AI that will be integrated with more and more video games. Huh. I thought, and this is the thing, any fucking moron, and I'm sorry if this was you, any fucking moron that believed for a second that Microsoft was going to save Activision, you have no fucking clue how to open your fucking eyes. And I'm sorry, it pisses me off because I've been saying this for years. 3 years ago, I can find the Facebook post that I did. 3 years ago, I said on Facebook, right, with the dates and everything, that when Microsoft buy out Activision, maybe 3 years ago, whenever it was that it was first announced that Activision, that Microsoft was looking to buy Activision, I said, once they do, they're going to fire most of the employees, and I even joked and probably replace them with AI. That was just the employees. I wasn't even talking about replacing the voice actors with AI. And then people are sitting there now going like, oh my god, how can they do this? Oh, bloody Activision, oh, bloody Treyarch. And I'm like, but isn't Mama Microsoft there? But guess who owns the AI? Microsoft. Guess who has to try and sell the idea? Just for the record, this is what Microsoft is doing. They're losing millions to billions of dollars. We don't even fully know the numbers. Hundreds of millions at least. Running Xbox Game Pass. They're trying to sell AI technology to companies, to big tech companies, right? Like the whole tech industry stuff. For $300 billion a year. Right? That's the money amount they want. Okay? This is information that's relatively simple to find. Not exactly in the public domain. It is, but it isn't, basically. But yeah, they're basically like R8i technology, blah, 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 blah. You should see how fucked it is for the game industry. The AI technology they're selling, they want to make it, right? So they want AI technology. They believe that in the next 10 years, they will have a bug-fixing AI technology, right? Which will basically mean the end of QA teams, apparently. So it'll be a program that goes through and takes up comments, like bug report information, from the consumers, and will then search for and correct bugs in the program. To put this into context, the last time they rolled out a system like that, which was only a year ago, it turned a full program into a virus, like by every definition. Right? It was tanking the test bed computers. So all of the white hat hacker types and all the industry security, like the people who work with viruses and all that, and work with vulnerabilities and stuff, they said this has become a virus, right? And that's with us telling them. That's with a fucking hell, the servers, man. And that's with the experts being the ones to do the reporting. They said two things are going to happen, right? And this is not like could happen. Red pilling is going to happen. So there will be hackers and people like that who are very interested in this technology making false bug reports to get the program to turn itself into a virus. So they could say, this is how fucked it is, right? When they launched the public test on this like little game thing they made, so it was like, I think it was a level of Doom, or it might have been like a crafted level. I think it was an AI developed level of Doom. I can't remember. It was really terrible, apparently. I don't know if it was Doom. It might have been Quake, actually. It was Doom or Quake or one of them. So it had bugs, right? Because it was AI generated. So they left it to an open, so it wasn't, it was a closed beta, but it was like the first 10,000 people or some shit. So they were all techie type people. 50 of the people, at least, were basically trolls, right? Who should never have gotten into the program. But guess what? They were selected by AI. Everything's going to be AI, says Microsoft. These 50 people went in and reported the boss as a bug. So the game just removed the boss. So as soon as everyone loaded up the game the next day after the overnight patches, the game just said you win. The boss is defeated. And they're going, what the fuck happened? And so some of the people who were like, part of the system went in and had a look, because they couldn't even get a hold of a human to fucking, this is meant to be testing AI, but like everything's being run by AI. So even the communications, like to try and contact the team to come in and look, So for 3 days, these trolls just had won, basically. So they had to try and make it so that the AI would put the boss back in the game. Imagine you go to play something and people complain because they said this system, this AI system, will not only look at bug reports that are being made, it'll look at made directly to the company, sorry. They will be looking at bug reports that are out in the wild, as they call it. So basically on the internet. So just to show you how fuck knuckle this is, when someone took this and ran it with basically a test bed for Elden Ring, by the end of the month, the program had identified all bosses as being too hard and deleted them all. Then it started deleting the enemies from the game. Yeah, if Elden Ring ran on this system, if enough people complain, and they don't even know what enough people means, it seems to be as little as 50 people, or a message with 1,000 likes. That seems to be the parameters. But yeah, it was the fuck, bro. And it would just remove it, because it was it'll do feature control. So they rolled this out in a test. Again, this is all test so far. They ran this test protocol out with one of their I can't remember what it is, but it's it's a Microsoft movie. It's basically like Microsoft Movie Maker. And people complained about tools. Not that the tools were terrible. It was just that they were not easy to use. So the program had to make a choice. The AI had to make a choice. So it decided that the easiest solution was to just delete the feature. One of the features it deleted was being able to save your fucking project. Another was cache saves. Is it cache saving? But you know how when you're working on a spreadsheet or working on a program, I know it's autosave, but it's a cache save or whatever, a backup. Backups. It increased the rate of backing up to every half second at one stage. Because people kept complaining that it wasn't saving often enough and they kept getting things. So in order to reduce the complaints to zero, it basically just opened up to suggestion or some shit. No one's even sure how the fucking program works. It's so fucking badly programmed. And this is shit that Microsoft's seen there going, we're proud of this. This is the future. And everyone's like, this is so exploitable. Right? Here's the worst one. Here's the most fucking scary one. Right? This is the one that's literally going, hopefully Microsoft gets sued into oblivion. Although I don't want them to get sued into oblivion, but at least they won't just go bankrupt. Someone will get paid. One of the things that came up, right, in this program was that Microsoft, someone couldn't get into their files, so they'd use the encode, basically to protect their files, right? But then they lost, their computer went down and they couldn't move the files because they were encoded, right? They needed the original code. So this is one of those things that's unfortunate situation, but you just fell into a grey area that there's no easy solution for. So basically their computer blew up I think the building actually burned down. But it meant that even though it was supposed to save these things to disk or whatever, they needed the original version of the program, which had burned in the fire, to be able to do it. Or maybe it was stolen. I can't remember. Something had happened anyway. Long story short, couldn't get their files back. Right? And Microsoft couldn't do anything about it, or whoever it was. I don't think it was Microsoft this time. But it was Microsoft providing this AI system. The AI system said, oh, well, we'll just stop encoding files. And everyone's like, but we need our files encoded because this is that's a security feature that we need, right? We don't want people just to be able to open up the files. And they're like, no, because encoding the files might do it. So to fix a random problem that would only affect a tiny amount of people, which, yeah, it's basically a kick them when they're down situation, but it's to protect everyone else. It just was yeah, well, let's just remove encoding files altogether, or encode them with only the most basic encoding. Like, don't make different encoding per system. Make it that the encoding is always the same. It's like, what? That just means that anyone has the program can open it. Like, that defeats the purpose. It's like making everyone's encode. Like, it's like making the password of everyone's computer 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's like, well, if everyone has the same password, then no one's going to forget it. Well, too bad that all the bad guys can do it as well. Like, there's actually a reason for this. It started removing security features and security things. It's so fucking disturbing to think that this is what companies like Microsoft think is the future. And here's the joke. I'm a baggy-ass fucking milkman at heart, right? That's what I was. I haven't been that for 8 years, I know, but it's still how I feel. And I can figure this shit out is wrong. Why can't software engineers at Microsoft? Oh, that's right, because Microsoft stopped hiring software engineers. And this is actually real, by the way. Microsoft, the last time Microsoft hired like an actual team of software engineers, and they've hired individuals, but not teams, is what I'm saying. The last time they hired a team of engineers was like, I think 2017, somewhere around there, right? Since then, they hire teams of feature engineers. These are people who come up with app ideas, basically, right? The people who are responsible for half the shitty apps you see in the world. And they're being hired by Microsoft to app engineer. And it's like, okay, cool. But what about actually making, like, you know, the system work? And they're like, oh, well, that'll just fall out of it because, you know, we'll just create all the apps we need. And it's like, but that doesn't work. Like when you can have my computer crash permanently because it's an app and the app crashed and won't load properly, you have a problem. Do you know that Task Manager can crash and can literally, like, lock your computer, so you have to actually turn it off? You have to hard reset your computer, even though it's still on and should operate and all the programs are there. But no, Task Manager crashed, so yeah, you can't enter anything. Now, I could, theoretically, that's the thing, this gun here is, I think, about halfway through. I don't know what to do. Okay, I'm going to continue doing this one. I'm going to dump the shotgun. I got it to gold. That's enough. What I'm saying is otherwise I've got to do... Basically, I've got to finish off however many special zombies I have to kill with this one, which is only one a round. And some rounds he doesn't show up. You might notice that at least 2 of those rounds in the last 5 or 6 didn't have a special zombie show up at all. So, yeah, it's fucked. It's not guaranteed. But see, if I go into standard, as I said, I can get like, sometimes I can get 5 or 6 at a time. So you need 4 or 5 rounds like that, and you've got your 30.
Here, have a bullet.
So Opal, so here's the thing, I've got to explain it. So standard skins, they're like all the way up to Purple Tiger, are 2,000 critical kills, right? So headshots. Once you've done that, you have 2 special skins. Now, those other skins are only for that gun, but they're always the same. So they always end with Purple Tiger camo. The 2 special skins are always different for every weapon. And they're unlocked permanently for all weapons. Doesn't matter if they're in the same category or not. So that strawberry mint or whatever it was that popped up earlier, that's now available for every weapon. Those have special conditions, like 300 hipfire kills, or 300 cryo-freeze kills, 30 parasite kills, 100 brain rotted, 10 kills, no reload, right? But then after that, after you've finished the category of all of the special skins, after that, it goes, after you've unlocked both of the special skins for that weapon, you can then unlock the gold skin. Once you've unlocked all of the gold skins for that category, so light machine gun, marksmanship, shotgun, whatever, then when you've got enough gold, from those, don't forget, weapons that have been introduced later. So, for instance, with sniper rifles, actually, no, it's saying that I do have to get all 4 sniper rifles. What the fuck? Oh, is it? Maybe not. Now I'm not sure. Basically, it should be all the original, because I'm pretty sure I can do shotguns even though I haven't done Maelstrom, because Maelstrom was added later, and some people won't have it. But anyway, the point is that of the original release weapons, you have to do at least that number of them, basically. So 2 shotguns, and I can unlock... Well, yeah, it has to be, because I've already done... Oh, no, I haven't done AOSG yet. So long story short, it's always the same. 10 rapid kills, 15 times, I think it is. It came up on the screen if you're looking. Then, to get Opal, once you've got all of the gold in that category, or enough of the gold, then you have to kill 10 special zombies with that weapon to get Opal. Once you've got 33 weapons that have been done with Opal, total, doesn't matter which categories, it just has to be 33 total. So that includes the new weapons or the original. It's just 33, as I said. Then you can unlock the next one, which is you can start unlocking Afterlife. And then, I can't remember, and Opal, I don't know what Afterlife is. I just know how to unlock it, but I don't know what the actual prerequisite. But it will be the same for all, I think. So, I'll have to look up what it is. And then once I've unlocked 33 guns with Afterlife camo, then I can unlock whatever the last one is. I can't remember what it's called. But yeah. So even though I'm at this point where I've only got like, I think 8 guns left, or 7 guns left, total for gold, because I want to get gold with every gun, whether it counts towards the Opal or not. So I think I've only got 7 Opal guns. Yeah. Then... So none of these regular kills here are counted towards anything. Because I've already done all the kills. But yes, it just goes on and on and on. But yeah. I didn't realise that they all required critical. Otherwise I would have been doing more critical kills while getting my other weapons, to max level. So let's spin the box. Wait. And...
I know there's a wonder weapon in there.
Yeah, this one's done.
Worked hard for that cash. Better put it to good use.
See how you can see almost all the... Oh, damn it! Fucking dumbass special zombie went and parked his ass on the fucking turret and got his ass blasted.
Screw me over, box.
So yeah, I set all the guns that are gold to gold and all the guns that are opal to opal. No one likes you. You have no friends or family. Fucking bunny rabbit. Now, is that down by the coastline, or is that off on the boat? Pistol.
I get it, man. Sometimes you gotta play things cool.
Eat my dick.
At this point, I'm just that.
I had someone actually... Didn't call me a cheat, sorry. I saw a video the other day where this guy got reported to Activision for cheating because he had an auto aim on zombies, and Activision in their infinite fucking stupidity gave him a ban, and he was a big YouTuber, and then someone pointed out to them, sorry if I told this story before, someone actually had to point out to Activision that there's literally a thing called Deadshot Daiquiri, that is what he was using, that automatically locks onto headshots. And so and he was part of the partner program, and he basically had to threaten Activision with a lawsuit because they shit-canned his profile and it was costing him money. And then they went in and found hundreds of reports and hundreds of people they'd actually deleted their accounts because they were classified as cheat, or had suspended their accounts for Autobot.
Where are you gonna spend it all?
And it was literally Deadshot Daiquiri. How fucking stupid can you get? See, it's a gold gun. I love that I did that. It actually makes it easier. I don't actually have to look at the fucking... I don't have to look at the spreadsheet every time. Oh, yay, the ray gun!
This thing real? Holy shit.
I don't want it. I've had to dump so many ray guns. It would just look... Like, anyone who's watching would be like, what?
You know I saw the other guns, right?
So it tries to keep some of it. There you go, there's a diamond gun. Opal guns.
How's it going in there?
Come on! I've got 6 guns left.
Box, you just made me the happiest man in the world.
Ah, I got ripped.
Fast and efficient, just like West Point.
Must have had less armor on or something? I don't know. The zombies fucking hit me up. Fucking hell!
Decoy out.
Fuckers done? Boom, motherfuckers.
Spin it up.
Right now, I'm not earning anything with these guns. So it's just about getting... Ah, fuck.
I'm not the type of enemy you want, Box.
Yeah, no shit. So...
Just how I imagined it.
Yeah, this might take a
I
while.
saw the other guns, right?
Okay, that was an instantaneous metamorphosis. This is bad. Very bad.
God damn.
That's what's smiling.
Don't open your fucking cunt.
Yeah, do your thing. I got nowhere to be. Send a decoy.
So many. Oh, it's on the boat. If you see it angled like that, you know it's on the ship. Because the ship is sinking! It's the easiest box to identify.
You don't want to be the one who ruins my day, do you, Box?
There he is. I think I started with 4. I've probably killed about 10 special zombies. Cool. That's what I was waiting for.
We sure know how to corner the market, Box. You got a whole squad of the maggot mouths.
God damn, it's this. I get this. I get the Sarin or whatever the fuck it's called. The Siren gun. More often than any other.
Knew you had a soft spot for me.
And it is
I know there's a wonder weapon in there somewhere.
forced retreat. Fuck you. I love how he's like, I know there's a wonder weapon in there, and I'm like, don't want it. Whoa.
You sure know how to corner the market, Box. Stuck him in the fridge.
Huh.
How's it going in there?
No. See, again.
Box, you just made me the
One there.
happiest man in the
There's
world.
one on the beach over there. The amount of times I see it come up.
Knew you had a soft spot.
It's. I got one marksman rifle left.
Acid dash, motherfucker.
No,
This
that's
is
a,
regulation.
that's a straight up opal. If I wasn't already doing the pistol, I'd do some of those assault rifles. Stop this connection error shit. See that? Several of the bullets just didn't register hitting the enemy.
You don't want to be the one who ruins my day, do you, Box?
Fuck's sake, another opal.
I'm not the type of enemy you want. So where are you gonna spend it all?
Come on. Fucking knew it. I'm thinking that's the one that's on the near the shoreline, like the fence, near where you buy the blue, the tier 2 arm. And that's what Deadshot Dacre, which should be around the corner here. Oh, there it is. Near the caves, that's what she said.
Rest in pieces, asshole. Keep coming. I got nowhere to be but here.
The audio just changed. I hit him earlier and I sent him into the freezy while he was like about to blast me. It was like just as he was about to fire off his shot, I blew his
Yeah, do
brains
your
out.
thing. I got nowhere to be.
See? Again, there you go, the fourth one. Told you. If you thought I was bullshitting, I was not. Aha! Finally!
This ain't regulation.
Oh, this is the one I can't... This has explosive rounds, so I have to do this at only highest rare level of thing, not anything else. Say... Oh god, I hate this. How many criticals do I have? I gotta confirm, this is the L3A1, pretty sure, Frost one. Oh no, it's the LR 7.62, which currently only has 622 criticals, meaning that I've got a long road. Yeah. This one goes explosive ammo, I'm pretty sure. I kind of fucking hope. Yeah, pretty sure that's why this is the lowest one. This is what I always laugh at. There's people out there who try to prove me wrong on things, which is fine. If they prove me wrong and they're correct, I'd like to be corrected because I don't want to be spread bullshit. But they do no research on anything, right? Like they don't do research on how infrastructure works with fucking internet and satellites and all this stuff, which all that information is out there. Okay, like there's the official information, the bullshit information that the company spread, which we're told don't believe what the companies say. The companies are just out there to make profit. They'll say anything to make profit. Well, the companies Microsoft said. So which is it, you fucking shit stain? Is it don't listen to the company or listen to the company? I just want to know which one you do. Oh, you do both? And then wonder why you're a fucking mixed up douchebag. Yeah, because you want to believe Microsoft when they tell you, we're going to upgrade our infrastructure and make everything faster. We're going to save Activision. But you don't listen when they say, oh, remember all those companies that were taken over by Activision and now they're doing really terrible? Oh, they won't do it to Activision. It's like my friend years ago. He was my friend. Everything went just sort of pear-shaped with us, but we were on Facebook and he just constantly would question my, like, if it was something to do with Microsoft, he would always take the opinion that I was wrong, right? And he literally stated to me, he goes, so I was talking about Fallout 76, and I said, Fallout 76 is a precursor. When they make the next Elder Scrolls, the next Elder Scrolls is going to be full of microtransactions and bullshit. He said, no, it's not. No, it's not. Nah, they wouldn't do that with Elder Scrolls. And I'm like, oh, so you've never heard of Horse Armor then? Oh, that was different. And I go, so you never heard of the creator, when the creator, what was it? Oh, god damn it. The thing where they were like, oh, we'll pay the creators, but then they were just stealing their work and shit. Oh, well, that was like a thing that didn't work quite right. And it was trying to get back to the creators. I go, it's always a fucking reason why they're not. Fallout 76, that's Bethesda being bad. But if they do things with their, with Elder Scrolls, they won't do bad stuff to Elder Scrolls. Elder Scrolls is the holy grail. So what the fuck are you talking about? And it just sickens me, because this is a guy who literally got fucked over by corporate greed, right? And then he blamed everyone who was in the company for trying to make the company be honest. So they sued the company he worked for got sued and forced to like pay their employees properly, actually do proper safety protocols, which for a petrol station company, kind of important. And then what happened to him? He didn't get the payout because he was so busy sucking the dick of the company for some reason. So he was waiting for his severance, and his severance got delayed because the company was dealing with this lawsuit, which is part of that was so that they could get a proper severance, because they were getting only paid half what the industry standard was. So he didn't get involved. When it was all done, it took him 2 years to get his severance. And instead of getting the higher severance that everyone else got, because he hadn't taken part and filled out the paperwork 2 years earlier, he had to get the original half-rate severance package. Basically, he sucked the dick of the company, and the company raw-dogged his throat, and then fucked him in the asshole to go along with it. And I'm sitting there going, why did you do that? Like, you're the first one to tell me, corporations are just fucking evil. But, like, I don't know what his deal is. Like, you know, and this it just got, like, the contradictions. It's so fucking dodgy, you know? But this is the thing. He was complaining about shit that wasn't real. Like, there were things that were happening with him where he was completely misunderstanding what was going on. And I kept explaining it to him when what they're doing is they're doing this. And he goes, no, they're doing this. You don't understand how free market enterprise or some bullshit. And then I turned around afterwards and I said, yeah, you know, you did notice that you're in the lawsuit that they proved exactly what I fucking said they were doing? And the judge agreed. Oh, judges are just fucking idiots. They're all part of the corporation. How the fuck are they part of the corporation? They literally ruled against the corporatized, bribed government, stooge lawyer judges. They're the ones that ruled against. And by the way, just for clarity, here in Australia, unlike in America, you don't have a right to a jury, right? So instead of having a group of people who don't know what the laws are and having to explain it and take months and jury selection, all the rest of it, cases in Australia, part of the reason they're handled faster isn't because there's quote-unquote less of them. There's actually more lawsuits to a certain extent. It's because a judge overlooks them, and the judge knows the fucking law, right? And the judge has to, like, take all the information and read it. It can take longer to get a verdict, but the verdict isn't, oh, well, it was a crying woman on the stand, and the jury decided the crying woman should be believed when actually she was the killer. Not even kidding, this has happened multiple times throughout history. The movie Monster is interesting. There's another story. When the movie Monster came out, the one with, I can't remember her name now, Charlize Theron, I think it was, where she played like a woman who was sleeping with, she was like a prostitute, but then she was Black Widow in men, basically. So luring them into her bed and then getting revenge on all men for treating women like objects by killing them. And she was just a serial killer. And, you know, she was always an excuse for why she was killing men. But the reality was she just wanted to kill people. You know, she just used her trauma as a sort of thing. The jury, I think she had one hung jury and then the second jury, I can't remember how it all worked with her, but basically there was the reason why, I don't think it was in the movie properly, but the reason why it was such a big case was because there was a very high chance that she was going to walk for the murders she committed. People were going to say that it was justifiable to kill all those men. And it would have been a landmark case that basically would have said that you can slaughter innocent men for being assholes, basically. As long as they do something that we consider wrong, which is like going and like hiring prostitutes. A lot of the men that she killed were just men who were, I hate to say it, or at least how they felt. They were non-attractive men. I mean, a couple of men were actually no problem on that end, but they just didn't know how to talk to women and stuff, so it was easy for them to just go to prostitutes. But she just basically wrote it up as like, oh no, they're bad men. Any man who goes to a prostitute, they just want to rape. She was calling her being a prostitute and being like charging men for sex, was saying that they were raping her every time they did. And it's like, but you chose to be a prostitute. Like, did she work in a restaurant, I think, or something like that? Like, she did get abused. I'm not saying she didn't get abused by her husband. She totally did. But she tried to basically say that if you go to a prostitute, you're a rapist. And she almost fucking got away with it. And there's another woman who did get away with it for, I think, a year. And in that time, she killed 3 men. And then they realized, and then they actually said that 2 of the jurors in that trial, this was a completely different woman, but she was like the same thing. And this had happened like a month after a month before, I can't remember. But basically, she should never have gotten off. This woman admitted to killing all these men, and she wasn't doing it through prostitution. She was killing men who were going to like some place. There was a whole thing. It turned out that there was just a whole bunch of like, well, only men who are bad people go to that place to pick up women and all this shit. But there was no evidence that any of the men in that case were bad guys. Like, I'm not saying some of them weren't. There's a high probability that at least one of the men she killed probably deserved it. And you can have a go at me all you like, but fuck them. These are like horrible, horrible people. But yeah, she got let off because the jury was like, no, she's weepy or whatever. And the dude who was like the prosecution, he was a sexist fuck. He should not have been on the prosecution. Like, the things he said about women and this was like, I think it was the early 2000s or whenever it was. Like, it wasn't like, I can't remember when that woman got done. Was the movie the early 2000s? I might be mixing that up. But anyway, point is, it was the wrong time. Basically, he was out of touch. And he believed that the men in the jury would just automatically sign on with this idea of like, this is just a pussy to be fucked. So, you know, the prosecution basically at one point, again, this wasn't with the one that was portrayed by Charlize Theron in the movie Monster. This was another woman who was just doing a similar thing. Killing men and justifying it under, I was abused, basically. And she was only killing men who were abusive, even though she had no evidence of any of these men being abusive. And, yeah, she got released, and it then came out that she was just a monster. Like, she was just another piece of shit garbage person. And but the prosecution in that case, he lost his license, I think. I know he got brought up on to be disbarred. I don't know if it ended up happening. But he shouldn't have been in this case, because at one point he basically said, well, you know, sometimes women deserve to get beaten to shut them up or some shit, because he was like an old fucking cunt. Maybe this was back in the 70s, and the jury was just like, well, we're not fucking going to let you win, cunt. And most of the people, after she turned out that she killed a whole bunch of men and just went back to her ways, they, the second jury, she got, actually, I think it was the 70s, actually. But the second woman, she got, I'm pretty sure she got the death penalty. Did the woman who was the woman that was Monster was based on, I think she got the death penalty, actually, as well. I can't remember. But yeah. They were just serial killers. But they tried to justify it with this, you know, because everyone's like, oh, we have to find out what makes someone a serial killer. And I'm like, okay, what happens is there's a sperm and there's an egg, and they go together and they make a person, and that person grows up and they want to kill people. So some people want to have sex, some people want to play with Legos, some people want to make trains, some people want to work on cars, some people just want to kill people. It's a hobby to them. Oh, it can't be that simple. Yeah, it is, actually. That's the part you don't want to accept. You want there to be something wrong with these people on a fundamental level, so that you can point and say, with a reason. Sorry, you want there to say no. Sorry, you don't want there to be something wrong with them on a fundamental level. You want something to be wrong with them on a systematic level. So basically, she was beaten, and so women who are beaten have a higher chance. There's a system. If we stop women getting beaten, there'll be no female serial killers anymore. So that's great. There's the studies have actually been done, and only about 10% of women who kill are because they're kill outside of self-defense, just for the record. So self-defense kills is different. We're not counting those, because someone's going to bring that up, and I'm talking about murder, not justifiable homicide, which is, you know, he was about to bash my head in with a He was about to bash my brains in with his fist, so I bashed his brains in with a frying pan. And you proved that, you know, you had to do something or he was going to kill you. You know, or you felt that you were going to die. That's justifiable homicide, right? But just, oh, he beat me up, and then 2 months later, I tripped him over when he was walking down the stairs with a tripwire, and then I got on top of him and stabbed the crap out of him while he was on the ground. That's not really justifiable homicide. You had 2 months to get the fuck out of that house or that situation, which I'm not saying always is possible. You know, especially when you go to places like, is it Texas? I can't remember where it is, but yeah, 50% of women in, is it Texas? I don't want to be like Florida. Or is it? I think it's 75% in Alabama. Alabama is really bad. So if you're a woman in Alabama and you're being beaten by your husband, basically justifiable homicide is the only way out of that. Because, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Alabama. 75% of women who are beaten till hospitalized are returned to their abusive partners. In fact, when they run away, the police are called and they say, oh, my wife ran away. And they can even say the words, I was beating the shit out of her. I was teaching her a good lesson. And she ran away, and the police are like, oh, we'll go get your punching bag back. What's your punching bag's name? Remember, this is a state in America. What a wonderful country full of so much freedom. But yeah, it's fucked up. It's like that woman the other day who ran from her husband. The police did nothing and she got hit by a fucking truck on the highway, and then the police are like, oh. And they're trying to work out if the police did the wrong thing or not. And they decided they didn't do the wrong thing, even though all they had to do was let her get in the car and drive her somewhere. This poor fucking woman had run from her abusive husband, and the police wouldn't help her. I think that was that Ohio, Utah, or somewhere? I can't remember where it was. It's a fucking hell. But anyway, in the movie Monsters, there was, yeah, and then there's serial killers, and then there's women who are serial killers. There's men who are serial killers. There's all stuff. But everyone's always looking for a reason. Oh, why are they serial killers? There are people who do go that way. They get broken down and can become killers. Generally, they don't become serial killers. And that's the big thing. You know. The problem is everyone wants a simple answer. Oh, that guy looks creepy, so he must be a rapist. It's like, okay. However, if you actually go and look up, like, the register for sex offenders, serial rapists, so not just like, oh, they raped their girlfriend or raped one or two women or whatever, like people who over decades, in many cases, just rapes tons of women, and it's fucked up. They get away with it for way too long. And one of the worst things about it is that many of the women don't report them because they think it's their fault. And these guys just get away with it over and over again. There was a guy only the other day who turned down a modeling deal as a male model. That's how handsome he was. He was a handsome man. He did like magazines locally and stuff, but he got an international modeling job contract because he knew that if he did, he'd be in too much of the spotlight, and he wouldn't be able to not rape. Apparently, like, he basically, in the courtroom, it was just fucking disgusting, the shit he was saying. But he basically victim blamed the whole time, and it was just messed up. He didn't even get a proper charge, even though there was evidence that he had raped over 40 women. Yeah, he was fucked. Fucking, you know. The good news is that when he got out of the courtroom, someone fucking took a baseball bat to him. So, the judge actually gave him time. So even though he was found guilty, the sentence was like the recommendation was life, which it should have been. The judge gave him like 10 years or something. And then he didn't even go straight to prison. He was let out to go and set his affairs in order because they didn't think he was a flight risk. Yeah. The only reason that he was even like noticed at the airport was because his face was profusely bleeding because someone took a fucking baseball bat to his face. One of the brothers, one of the victims, just fucking smashed his face in with a baseball bat. And he even said to him, the only reason I'm not going to kill you is I'm not going to go to prison for the rest of my life for murdering you. But, you know. And then the guy went to the airport and then tried to claim that he was running because the brother had beaten him up. He bought the tickets. As he was leaving the airport, he pulled his phone out and booked the tickets to leave the country. To leave America. It's like, the fuck, bro? But if he was ugly, he would have been fucking life in prison, all the rest of it. Even the fucking judge, and the judge was a male. Even the judge was like, you know. By the way, the jury, basically, if you went through all the women, all the ones that were not conventionally attractive, they were like not guilty. It was only the attractive women that apparently were telling the truth. It's fucked up. It was one of those fucked up things I ever watched. I got to see if I can find it. It's just disturbing as shit. Yeah. And because he tried to run, he did. When he got to prison, he got fucking. Within a month, he was on suicide watch because his butt was probably like. You could have pushed an orange into his asshole with no issue. He was turned into the bitch. Pretty boy bitch in prison. Who yeah. Fucking absolute piece of shit. Two of the women as well were ignored. These were, you know, guess what? Black. So two black women were ignored because their brothers were possibly involved in gang activity. It's like, what's that got to do with them being raped? It's like, well, it's like, no, this is fucked. You know? Some hunky guy fucking does horrible shit for over 20 years. Was it 30 years? I can't remember. I think his earliest was, I think he was in high school.
I don't know if you can feel pain, but that shit.
Or might have just left high school. I think he was 18, 17 or 18. And yeah. But he got away with it, because a lot of the women initially, were basically pushing the, they were saying, like, you know, oh, I must have done something wrong, because someone attractive like that would rape. It's like, he held you down when you said no. Yeah, but, you know, why would I say no? He was hot. It's like, that's still rape, for fuck's sake. But this is the problem. Society, creepy guys rape. Hunky guys, oh, I should have just given my body to them. The fuck? And I'm not trying to victim blame. This is the societal norm. That's the problem. They're a victim of other people filling their head with fucking garbage. Even when one of the women had been like severely beaten and raped, when she called the police and she said who it was, the cop said, "I don't believe you," just to her face. This is on body cam. This is on his police cam. She's bleeding, and not from the face. She's bleeding from down there. That's how brutally he raped her. And the cop is going, basically, well, the cop even almost says the words, why would someone like that have even, like, raped you? Because she wasn't conventionally attractive. It's like, holy fuck. But what do you hear all the time? Oh, be careful of the creepy dude. Yeah, go and look up serial killer pictures. Like, what they look like outside of their, like, courtroom photos and shit. Oh, he's got evil eyes. He looks evil. Like, yeah. There's a classic one I was watching the other day. They were talking about, I can't remember who it was. They did a movie for him a few years ago. Not the gay guy. The other one they did a movie for, where he tried to marry he did marry the girl who was on. It was the whole thing became a circus. 800, yay! Only 1,200 to go. And what was his name? He was one of the big ones. I can't remember his fucking name. But yeah, like you look at pictures, they had like a Time magazine or Vogue or whatever, one of those magazines, and they had the image, right, of him, like in the courtroom, looking all creepy and shit. And then someone actually said, this is the actual picture that was taken. And all they did was like, took the image and like, they basically photoshopped in to make him look creepy after he was found guilty. Right? But the image itself, he was a conventionally attractive, normal-looking dude. He was actually very attractive. And that's why so many women got into his car. You know, he'd just pull up. Hey, babe, want to go with me? Yep. Then next thing you know, they're all in the woods trying to work out why they. You were like, oh, I'm not going to go home with the creepy dude. But this attractive guy, he's not going to fucking kill me. Unfortunately, I'm not saying that means watch out for attractive dudes, but the answer is be careful. Don't be afraid of everyone. That's not helpful. But be always cautious. You know. Like, okay, I'm going to head off in a sec. I got a little story for you. So years ago, I was doing pizza delivery. I worked in pizza for like 6 months. I've got several stories about doing pizza delivery, though. So here's a little story for you. So I was delivering a pizza to this dude's house. And just for the record, everything I'm about to tell you is pretty much true. A little bit of embellishment. But not really that much. Probably a little bit of misremembering. But most of this story is factual. I'm not kidding. I pull up to this dude's place, and the street that I had to go down, this is important. Well, important to what happened next. For me, what happened. So the street itself was like a small side street that only went like probably 5 or 6 houses, and only on one side. The other side was like the back of other houses. What it was where they were, I think there was like businesses there, and then the businesses got turned into housing, I think. And then this little side street was probably like a back alley to deliver into the businesses. And then they built these like little houses, like all the houses were these little tiny houses. But it meant that the street didn't go very far and was only one side was actually like front houses. The other side was the back of other businesses, right? Now, what this meant was when I pulled up, when I wanted to leave, I had to back out onto a major road. I didn't like doing it. But luckily I knew how to reverse at the time, so it was not too bad. I still know how to reverse, but earlier in my driving career I wasn't great at reversing. Now I'm really good at reversing, actually. Not with a trailer, though. Anyway, so I pull in, I walk up to the door to deliver the pizza, and he had the TV on, like, it wasn't even just that the TV was on loud. He had, like, the windows open, and as I said, it was a little house. So the TV was blaring, and it was playing South Park. And because I watched a lot of South Park at the time, I knew the script off by heart. So I just, sort of muttered the next part of the episode, and the guy was like, huh? And I go, oh, sorry, man, South Park. I love South Park. I just remember this episode really well. And he goes, oh. And he goes, yeah, it's really cool. Anyway, he was having trouble getting the money. So, he pulled out a $100 note. And I said, oh, dude, that's too big. You got to click on the change for a 50 or tell us that it's a $100 note or whatever. And he goes, oh, man, didn't think about that. I think I got some smaller money inside. Just give me a sec. And then he just said the words like, oh, just come inside. And you're not supposed to. And it's such a momentary lapse where I just wasn't thinking. So I walk inside and there's a TV. So there's like a little, it's not a hallway. It's like a little sort of, almost like it's like a square room. You see them in little houses and stuff. It could almost be the size of like a small bedroom. And often you'll put like a fridge and freezer or something along one wall, maybe a cupboard with all your stuff. And then there's like an open living room, like sort of living room and then like kitchen and shit. And then there's probably like 1 or 2 bedrooms in the house and a toilet. Very small houses. And the bedrooms will either be 1 semi-big bedroom or 2 very small bedrooms. I don't know about the rest of the house. All I know about is what I saw, which was the lounge room with the TV against the wall, like facing towards the street, and a coffee table covered in like go to jail for the rest of your life quantities of drugs. A mound of fucking white powder, assuming cocaine. Double that by saying that there was a literally razor blade sitting there with like, little bits of fucking whatever, like lines. Yeah, she was on paper. Like lines already cut out on, like already sorted out on paper or whatever. I don't do drugs. Bags of pills. Now these pills, when I thought about it afterwards and when I saw the money sitting there, this guy was dealing. So people would obviously come up and he would just like chuck him a baggie, they'd chuck him some money and they'd leave, most likely, right? I hate that I know this kind of setup. It's something that you technically see in TV shows and movies, but probably in something like Pineapple Express, where they actually have been to places like that. So he's got this mound of drugs, right? And it's like pills, little baggies of weed leaves everywhere. As I said, most likely cocaine. That's the only thing I can think of. That's a white powder, but I know there's other stuff now. This is like, shit, I don't want to be here. Right? Now the problem is drug-fucked people and drug-selling people are paranoid as shit. Okay? The movie Training Day has a lot of bullshit in it, but there is a definite truth to the scene in Training Day where Denzel Washington like offers drugs to Ethan Hawke's character, and Ethan Hawke refuses it, and then he pulls out a gun and says, and then you're dead. Like, you gotta know, like, not to say no, sort of thing, or whatever. Here's the deal. This guy offers me whatever I want. Let's watch some TV. I don't want to be there. I don't do drugs. So I wouldn't even do these drugs even if, I wasn't working at the time. And my brain has to go into like, what do I do? Right? So my brain goes, okay, what have I got to use? I'm working. That's what I got to focus on. Okay? I can't say I don't do drugs because he's going to get... His brain is going to go, why not? You a narc? You a cop? You undercover? Even though those things are totally irrational, you might be a druggie and you might say, I'm not like this. You might not be like this generally, but you'd be amazed at how quickly you go to this point when your drug-addled psycho-fuck brain loses its shit. And you can tell me this doesn't happen. The amount of times I had to talk my way out with friends, like friends of friends, way too many times. That's part of the reason why I like drug people. You want to do drugs? I don't give a shit, but don't fucking go anal retentive. To put it into context, I've had to walk into someone's kitchen. They don't even know why I was walking into their kitchen. And I had to look for a knife because if shit started to go down, I knew I had to stab my way out. People would say, oh, and I go, no. We're talking about 2 guys, high as a fucking kite. I'm not a tall person or a fighter. I'm a fat, tubby lard cake. Yeah, you want to get out of a situation where two druggies are about to fuck you up? You stab the shit out of them. You're not going to be able to beat them. You can take a baseball bat to them. They'll fucking shrug it off. You stab till they don't fucking get back up. Okay? You can call me a psychopath all you want. I'm not dying because druggies beat me to death, because they can't remember to stop punching. And the fact that I know a guy who got his lungs kicked in till they were liquefied, when they're just from being drunk, that's another story for another day. Yeah, I'm not fucking around, right? Right now, all I've got is a fucking pizza box, right? And I'm not where I want to be. And my car is facing the wrong direction. Yeah, see how I said that it was important, this little lane that I had to reverse out of? Yeah, I was not in a good position. So I had to use my words. So I'm looking at this dude and I'm like, oh man, I'd love to, but I got to get back to work, dude. Like, it's a busy night. And so his paranoia is kicking in straight away, right? I can see it in his eyes. Paranoia is kicking in. And he's like, you don't want to do anything? He's like, come on, just take something. And I go, dude, I'd love to, but if I'm driving around and I got anything in my system and the cops pull me up, I lose my job, man. I need my job. Like, it's cool, man. So he's getting paranoid. And I said, dude, I've got like another 2 or 3 hours. When I'm done, if I'm feeling up for it, I'll come back and we'll party all night. I don't need to work I got the whole weekend off because this was a Friday night. I got the whole weekend off, man. We'll party like it's fucking, it's crazy. He's like, oh man, sure you don't want to take something for the road? And I'm like, dude, if it's found in my car, man, police pull us guys over all the time. You'd be amazed. I speed as well. See, I got here so fast, and he's like, oh, you got here real fast. I go, yeah, I speed, man. That's already dangerous enough. But at least I could talk my way out of that. But, dude, trust me, if I'm feeling up for it, I will be back here in a heartbeat. I'm not going to, I know where you are. I'll come back. But maybe not tonight. I'll catch up with you, though, at the very minimum. You have a good one, man. Enjoy the pizza. Hopefully, if I'm not too tired, I don't know how it's going to be tonight. I got another 3 hours on my shift. I actually had another 50 minutes on my shift. But I had to say 3 hours. It was a 4-hour shift, but I was at the end of the shift. I had to pretend it was the beginning of the shift. And by the way, the sun was still up, just for the record. The place closes at 11, but I was doing the early afternoon shift. That's the sort of shit where you got to think fucking fast, man, because you got to use your words. And that's the thing, is that I'm not sure how we got onto this story, onto this thing, but basically, yeah, I'm not sure where I started off on this, but yeah, that's something that happened to me where it's like, and I've been in a situation like that a couple of times, where just like you had to talk your way out of shit. The thing is be wary, you gotta not just be convincing, you gotta keep it simple. You know what I mean? I just had it as, I'm working, dude, I can't do it right now. But I'm totally down for snorting all that coke. And I wasn't going to say anything like that. I wasn't going to, pretend to be a druggie or anything. Don't do that. Don't fuck yourself up. Just be normal honest. Which is, because if I had told him I don't do drugs at all, his paranoia bubble would have just gone nuts. He could have stabbed me. I don't know if he had a gun, he could have shot me. And you'd say, oh, that wouldn't happen. You don't fucking know. He was already 10 fits to the fuck all. His eyes were blaring, man. I knew he was stoned when he answered the door. I didn't expect that when I walked inside that I'd be faced with, a fucking mound of cocaine and enough fucking drugs to... if a cop had walked in that door, the first question that would have been out of his mouth after arresting that dude or whatever would be, why are you inside the door? And I'm like, because he asked me inside and I didn't think it through. And the cop, I probably would have ended up with a fucking cop shoving his arm up my arsehole. Not trying to have a go at the cops, but fucking, if you're not doing it and you're not stoned, are you a mule, But yeah, and when I got back, I walk in and I'm like, that was fucked up. And my boss was this really cool surfy dude. He had one of those bongo vans, I think they are, or whatever. I looked up a bongo van, it doesn't look right, but he had a surfy van thing. It might have been a Volkswagen. I'm not sure. But anyway, he was covered in surfing stickers and stuff, and I was chatting with him, and he still surfed, but just not very much, because now he owned a business. And because he was like, the franchise holder sort of thing. And I'm chatting with him, and I go back, and I go, oh man, I fucked up. And he goes, really? And I go, well, not. I mean, I got out of it, but I fucked up. And I said, I was at this dude's place, and I accidentally went in the front door. And he goes, what? And I go, I know. He didn't have enough money. He only had $100 notes. And then he's like, he was like watching South Park, and so we started chatting about South Park for a bit, like while he was getting the money. And then he said, I'll just come inside. So I came inside, like, I should have just said, nah, man, like, I can't come inside. Like, that's what the rules are. But I'm like, I'll just go inside the door. Like, I won't go, fully. As soon as I walk in, like, he had, like, a mound of fucking cocaine. He goes, really? Like, cocaine, pills, weed, all sorts. And he's like, oh, shit. And I go, we're not ringing the cops. He's like, oh, fuck no, man. Like, And he said, you didn't do anything, did you? And I'm like, oh, fuck, I don't do drugs, man. No. I said, but I had to talk my way out of it. And he said, what'd you do? I said, I just told him that I had a long shift, and I'll come back. I basically promised him I'd come back later. Oh, that's a bit dangerous. I go, it'd be more dangerous if I told him I wasn't coming back at all. And he went, oh, yeah, good point. I said, yeah, I'm mostly telling you because if you get another delivery to that place, just like, I don't want to go there. And he goes, I'm actually going to block that place because he said last time I went there, the dude took way too long to get the money. And I said, yeah, all he's got is $100 bills and shit, because I guess he's selling. He's only got like 50s and 100s. And he goes, that explains it, because he did take it out of, like, he literally had like a roll of money, like, you see in movies and shit. And I was like, and he's like, that explains it. So yeah, he actually blocked the dude from being able to order. Apparently he rang. I don't know how true this is, because the dude who told me, he's a good guy, but it's not that he makes things up, but he does sort of make things up. But he basically was saying, apparently he rang up like a week later to make an order, and the boss just said to him, like, we don't deliver there anymore. And the guy was like, what? And he's like, yeah, sorry, you're outside of our circle, and no Domino's deliver there anymore. And the dude was like, oh man, that sucks. And he's like, but you guys aren't that far away. And they said, yeah, it's corporate policy now, whatever. This dude was way within the circle, just for the record. He was way within the circle. But yeah, it was like, we don't deliver that far. It's like, dude. Like, when I say it's way within the circle, okay, I want to be clear here. To be honest, okay, so there's right near the store, like within a kilometer or whatever, like 1 or 2 kilometers. That's like gonna be delivered to, you know what I mean? Then you get to sort of like, there's 2 things that happen. You either cross another territory, so another store's territory, or I think it's like 10 kilometers or something. He would have been like 7 kilometers. So he wouldn't have been like, so he wasn't like right next to the store. But he was far enough away that if he did look at it, he could say, oh, I guess that I'm further than I thought. You know what I mean? But we were delivering much further away than him, so... But yeah, I think it was because he was drug brain. He didn't really, like, he's like, oh, man, I'll have to come in. So, oh, God. Like, oh, man, it's going to be nervous. But anyway, I got some better, funnier stories about doing Domino's delivery. Ones that include bikini babes. But I'll tell them another day. Yeah, I'll have fun.